Praise the Lord, everyone. We're getting all set up here for our Wednesday night live, letting people jump on.
Needed music in the background.
Yeah.
That would really be nice.
But you can't use canned music. I tried that and we got shut down.
I wonder why that is. If you had the silly on that. I don't know why they do that.
Give us a shout out and we'll know who's on here. You ready for me to?
Yeah, go ahead. Plug that in. Praise the Lord, Sister Estes. God bless you. So glad to see you getting on with us here tonight. Brother Estes was sharing with us how slick it is down your all's way last night. I think you got some more glazed ice or something from that freezing rain last night. But anyhow, glad to have you online with us tonight. Just waiting just a couple minutes, going to let some others join. You had Sister Tina Walker, God bless you, all the way from Florida. My hero. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to someday going back to Florida. And Brother Bratcher, God bless you, good to see you. Sister Ava Elliott, God bless you tonight. Good to have you, Sister Elliott. Glad to know that you're back home with us once again. Still praying for your daughter. God will give her complete healing on that. Take care of that issue once and for all. God bless you, Sister Briscoe. Delighted to see you joining tonight also. I kind of thought you might have joined with us here, but that's okay. It is so looking forward to what the Lord has in store. God bless you, Sister Barbara Riddle. And good to have you on tonight also. And all the way there in almost New Haven. And we're delighted to have you in the house of the Lord tonight as well. Jan Rushing, God bless you, Sister Rushing. Good to see you. And I hope and pray you're not getting out too much while you're going through this recovery with that leg. Enjoyed your pictures on Facebook of your frozen surroundings, the tundra down there. But God bless you. Good to have you here tonight. And God's been good to all of us. He really has. If you notice, we're at church. And it is just so comforting just to walk back into the church. Amen. And I was telling some while ago, just to walk in the doors and walk to the sanctuary, sit down on a pew in the stillness and the quiet of it. You just can't put that feeling into words. It's just such a, man, I'm tearing up just thinking about it. It's just a sweet, sweet presence of the Lord in the house of the Lord. And I love virtual. Thank God for virtual, being able to meet like this when we can't meet otherwise. But there's nothing in the world that takes a place of being in the sanctuary together. So we are delighted on each and every one of you that's taken time out to join and come online. We're just going to give it just a couple more seconds here. And then I'm going to introduce you a very special guest tonight. I know it's going to be a blessing unto you, the service that we've got lined up here. But while we're waiting, I'll just make a couple really quick announcements. We just want to thank all of those that have worked on our parking lot. Brother Tucker, also I think Brother Neil assisted as well. Brother Jerry Hall, also Brother Cantrell. All those that's been down here working on this parking lot, trying to get feasible enough that we can get back in-house worship. We just want to say thanks to each and every one of you. Cindy Shuffett, God bless you. Good to have you. Well, that's Cindy Shuffett Bratcher. Okay, make sure I get that. Make sure I get that last name in there. Sister Sherry McGrew, God bless you. I want you to know we're praying for you and Sonny. Also praying for Sister Miller. God will continue to strengthen her body as well, and you all as you go through this time with her. And Danita Joe Wells, all the way in sunny California. You're my hero. You and Sister Tina Walker. And I tell you what, is coming to church tonight. Looking at the frozen tundra, all the way snow everywhere. I told my wife she needs to take pictures because just a few more days, by the grace of God, it'll be gone. But anyhow, delighted to have you online with us tonight also. I was telling them about those that's worked so hard on our church parking lot. Brother Cantrell was down here Monday night, worked till 10 o'clock after he got off from work in Louisville. And then last night he came back by the church after he got off from his job in Louisville and worked to 9:30 last night. And we can't say thank you enough, Brother Cantrell, for all that you've done. Talked to him on his way home last night. He was telling us that his bride was fixing some smoked pork chops. And so he is in a hurry to get home last night and get some dinner and enjoy those smoked pork chops. Well, God bless you. And I'm just going to give it just one more minute here before we bring our guest on. Just want to say thank you for the privilege of your time, taking time out, being with us tonight. Now, don't be in any hurry to drop, because whenever we get through, we'll make a couple announcements about this coming weekend, and also about the upcoming fish fry as well. So we'll share that with you here in just a little bit. Well, this is just absolutely awesome. You know, those of you that have joined, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm going to bring to you our guest tonight, Brother Larry Briscoe. He's going to be greeting you. I asked Brother Briscoe, now a lot of us that's familiar here with Faith Apostolic Church, you know, Brother Briscoe has been around for a while. And I'm not even going to try to guess. I'll miss it, all right? But I'm sure he's going to tell us how the church was since it started in 1976. This is our year of Jubilee. 50th year anniversary is going to be this coming August. But it wasn't but shortly after the church started, he and his bride came in and made this their home church. And I'm not going to steal his thunder. I want him to take his time. I want him to tell us a little bit about his background. He can share with us growing up with other siblings, stories about his mom and dad, about his military career, finding the love of his life, you know, the children that God has blessed their union with, and then also about his walk between him and the Lord. Well, I'm going to get out of the way. Brother Briscoe, come on over here. Sit on this yellow couch tonight. Why don't you just come on over here and make yourself comfortable? And I'm going to sit here in this nice, comfortable green chair. And Brother Briscoe, we do love and appreciate you. This man has got a reputation not only of his stewardship and his hard work here at Faith Apostolic, but the years the church has been doing the fish fry, everybody's been trying to get this man's secret recipe for the beans. But anyhow,
I feel like Colonel Sanders.
You ought to. I hear more people. It's every year people come through wanting to know if you give out that recipe for
I've
your
actually
beans.
been bribed.
I imagine so, I tell you.
No.
Yeah. No.
No, I said they would probably shoot me if I did.
No, that's one of the big drawing things. There are fish fries, those famous beans. Yeah. Well, you know, I appreciate you taking time out, especially coming down tonight. We're the only ones here. The parking lot is still in that improvement phase. But we've had this scheduled for like a couple weeks and haven't been able to make it happen. But before time slipped away too far, I want to just spend some time together. I wanted you to have an opportunity, Brother Briscoe. Everybody knows you here. Most everybody online knows you. And we just shake your hand here at church, say our howdies, how you doing, whatever. But there's a side of you, there's a lot of things in your past that is quite exquisite about what God did for you, where He brought you from. And I just want you to take your time, it's just us, and just share your testimony, your story with these wonderful people with us tonight.
Okay. I was born in 1954. I'm 72 years old. That's 9 years after World War II ended, and a couple years, I think, maybe, after Korea, and then just a few years before Vietnam started. So war was a major part of our culture at that time. And the hippie movement and, you know, racism, you name it, everything, every issue that's here today seemed to have cropped up at that time, although I'm sure the seeds of which were planted long before. As far as I'm concerned, though, you know, I lived right through the peak of a lot of that stuff. I had an almost idyllic Mayberry RFD lifestyle. I was young and adventurous and naive and I had an imagination that wouldn't quit, and my mom always said that I had a unique capacity for memories, for remembering things. She was always amazed that I could remember things that happened when I was very young. And when I look back over my life, it's just a collections of photographs, really, in time. And I was the seventh child of 14 children, and that we weren't the only large family in our neighborhood. My best friend's family was 11 children, and there was another family of 14 children in it. And as such, as being in the middle, as after having been a parent myself, I can only imagine what my parents were going through with all of us, and how easy it was to just sort of let go and let things happen the way they happened. And they didn't really rein us male children in that much. With the young ladies, my sisters, it was a little tighter control over them. My parents were inclined to be religious. You know, they had faith. They lived their life according to what they understood in the Bible. And years later, when I did get baptized in Jesus' name, my dad understood completely the need for baptism in Jesus' name. He just could not quite grasp the whole picture of salvation. And he knew about repentance and the need for repentance and things of that nature and the blood of Christ.
My goodness.
But in the meantime, growing up, I think he kind of got disillusioned with not church, but people.
Yes.
And, you know,
yes.
It's just the way it is, folks.
Yes.
You know, you got to learn to deal with people as they are and love them like God loves them. And I don't think my dad had an easy time doing that. And he shied away from church for years. He would still send us children to church, but he stayed back. And I can remember him praying at nights in the bedroom there. So he still tried to maintain a relationship with God. And,
yes.
And he was a holiness, what you'd call a holiness man. He didn't let us dress in an ungodly fashion, what he thought was ungodly fashion. And we didn't speak, vulgar words, and I didn't even know what racism was. These things weren't in our house.
Yes.
And I actually never even encountered that till I went to work as a cook in a restaurant, and the man that taught me how to cook was a black man, and I admired him tremendously. And I saw firsthand at a Klan rally downtown on the main square of all things. I would think that these people would be lurking around in the darkness, but they were all right out in the open, and I just could not believe any of this stuff. I'd never seen anything like it in my whole life. And I knew his name was Mr. White, and I knew him personally, and I respected him tremendously. And I feel like it helped me understand the times in which I lived a little clearer. And excuse me. And it was I remember the first time I heard the word hippie was on Truth or Consequences. I don't know if you remember that show.
Boy, that goes back a way.
Was it Bob Barker?
Yes.
I'm not sure. But he mentioned that word in an interview with one of the people that was on the show, and I was like, what is that, you know? I mean, our household, we didn't have a TV, and we were sort of isolated. And I'll be honest with you, I thank God now in retrospect that my parents tried to raise me the way they did. And the contrast between my upbringing or what they intended to be my upbringing, I should say, and the way things were once I got out on my own, was very stark. And I always had a kind of a critical thinking mind. I never, it wasn't hard for me to find dubious a lot of statements I would hear from people. And I think I can thank my parents for that sense of awareness of the scriptures, first off, and the contrast between the way I believe God really wants us to treat each other and the way that we were doing at the time. And anyway, I grew up with all this as the backdrop, and I really didn't pay much attention to anything per se. I was too much enjoying my life, you know. My parents basically just gave us boys free rein to do whatever we wanted to do. As long as they didn't have something that needed to be done, we were free to go and, you know, participate with our friends. And my favorite thing to do was to head north. We lived on the outside of town. We weren't actually in the city. It was a suburb of a small town up in northern Indiana. And by the way, this weather is nothing. I remember getting up on winter mornings with literally half-inch or an inch of ice on the inside of the window.
Lord.
And even if there hadn't been any ice, it wouldn't have mattered because the snow was well over the top of that window. And I despised cold weather with a passion. It was worse than bean soup, and my dad just made me despise that too. He always had a pot of bean soup on the stove, and I swore off beans. And this is the crazy thing is I love them. You know, I love a piece of cornbread and my bean soup with some raw onions and some ham, you know. And I could see why he liked them so much. But at the time, I was like, when I leave home, I'm never having another bean soup as long as I... But anyway, we were just given free rein, and we were like Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and Opie Taylor all rolled into one thing, you know. We fought great wars and, you know, heroic struggles, and you know, our imagination was just absolutely unlimited, and we got caught doing the craziest things. Not that some of them were particularly wrong or bad, but a lot of them were dangerous.
Yes.
We learned how to make gunpowder, and we discovered calcium carbide. I don't know if many of you know what that stuff does, but we like to make a lot of noise and watch things blow up. And honestly, I'm surprised we transitioned into adulthood without certain parts of our body. You know, that we lost. I mean, we were literally making gunpowder and cannons, and oh, it was awful when I think about it, how dangerous the things we were doing. Back in those days, you could go into a drugstore and there was always a wall of chemicals. You could go buy chemicals in a drugstore in these little jars. And my brother, I guess he was in the library at school, and it told you how to make gunpowder. And so he went, saved up some money and got everything he needed to make gunpowder. We started making gunpowder. And anyway.
That'd be a good place to inject. Kids, do not try this at home, okay?
Yeah.
Do not try this at home.
Seriously.
Okay, go ahead. No.
Think what they could have done if they had YouTube back then.
Oh, yes. I might not even actually be here.
That's right.
But, you know, I hate to glorify bad behavior, but we used to ride trains. We used to get on there, and back in those days, they didn't enclose the automobiles in the cars, like the train cars like they do now. They were all just exposed. And we would get in the cars and pretend we were, you know, driving a muscle car or whatever, you know. And but we would ride trains, and we actually were going to run away from home one time. I'm not going to go into all that, but we were going to hop a train, and that was going to be our way of escape. And we were sitting under an overpass about 5 or 6 miles outside of town, and a state trooper looks up underneath the overpass and sees a bunch of kids up there, and he stops the car and he goes, "What are you doing?" And we said, "We're going to run away from home." And he goes, "No, you're not. Get in this car." And he takes us to my best friend's house and drops us off. But he didn't take me to my house, because if he had, I would have gotten the beating of my life.
Dad took care of you.
Because that was a crime in my family, was to have the authorities bring you home in a car. That was embarrassment, you know. They were very sensitive to their role in the community. You know, they were registered voters. They voted. They went to meetings. You know, we were poor. We were dirt poor, but they still had a certain degree of their part in the community.
Yes.
And
yes.
I personally wouldn't agree to with their politics today, because it's not the same as it was. Okay. And I don't want to get into politics at all. But they were doing their best, you know, as good citizens, and trying to live right and stuff like that. We were, despite the fact that we had practically nothing. We had a roof overhead, we had food, and you had my dad, you know, you got issued a pair of shoes, and he didn't want to see you abusing them shoes because you worked hard for them shoes, that sort of thing. And we would slide down a muddy hill in clothes, and he would just get so upset, you know, because he worked hard to provide that. He didn't like, but we were just being kids. You know, he never would do nothing about it, you know. But he would admonish us strongly. But he was a quiet man, a good man. He was, like I said, he's in World War II.
Yes.
He was a Bronze Star winner, which basically meant he killed people.
My goodness.
And about the only thing I could really relate to him personally was when I enlisted in the Navy years later and became a military man myself. And
yes.
And Dad, he never talked about his wartime experiences, but our neighborhood was full of men that had gone through that. And years later, after I married Sarah and we had children, one day on the front porch of our house back home, he opened up just out of the clear blue. I don't know why, what was on his mind, what caused him to bring it up, but he told me a tale of what he had personally witnessed, and I told him, I said, "Dad, I just don't know how you're sane. I just honestly cannot understand how you are sane." But I think he carried the burden of what he went through and what he had to do. And he seemed to hate guns.
Right.
I don't think he had anything against guns, because he let us have guns.
Yes.
But if you mishandled one, he'd walk over to you and say, "Let me see that." And I'm not joking. He would destroy that gun right in front of you.
Yes.
And he was just that way about those things. I never saw him till way years later handle a weapon. And he was a remarkable marksman with it. But anyway, there were other men in our neighborhood. One had been through Korea, and he had a metal part of his skull. And another guy, I think he had been in World War II also, lived just 2 houses down. He drank himself into a stupor every night underneath a great big huge picture of some 200 or 300 men, and he would stand there and say, I'm the only one left, and just cry his eyes out. And you know, these men, they gave me an affinity for men that are in, and women that are in the military, and the things that they have to go through. And my son is currently in the military. Something I did not encourage, but I didn't say anything negative about it either. I think it's a very honorable thing
Yes, it is.
to do. But this was my neighborhood, and all my friends, though, we weren't really affected by any of this. We were just living that carefree, young lifestyle of let's just have fun, and we weren't abusive to others. We didn't like the idea of just tearing something up or destroying property, because we lived in a neighborhood, and my mother and father instilled, I think, in us a sense of community. And this was regardless of the fact that we were very poor. Everybody in our neighborhood was actually very poor. They were very low income factory workers. We didn't live but probably 3 blocks away from where my dad actually worked most of his life. And poverty was never an excuse for anything, any kind of bad behavior. And we had to live our life according to the Bible, the Word of God. And that's all that mattered to them. And my dad was always quite content with the blessings that he had. And I think he really did love us children. It was difficult for him to express verbally his love. Mom, she was different, you know.
Yes.
Being a lady, of course, she was more open to outward displays of affection and stuff. But he was real reserved. And he usually said, "I love you all."
That's right. That's right.
I can't ever remember him saying, "I love you, Larry."
That's right.
And or anything like that. I think there was a lot of stuff on his mind, to be honest with you.
I'm sure.
And now that I'm a father, and I've gone through that phase of them growing up, I've been able to relate more and more to the struggles that fathers, fathers that want to be a good father go through.
That's right.
Anyway, like I said, we were happy as larks. We built forts, we burrowed tunnels, we swam rivers, we built rafts, and I mean, it was straight out of some sitcom on TV, you know.
Now, how old were you when Sarah came into the picture? Were you a teenager? Were you in college?
No, I met her when I was in the Navy.
Oh, you was already in the Navy.
Yeah, I was.
So did you go to the Navy? I'm just talking to you. Did you go to the Navy after you graduated from high school, straight into the service?
Not straight in, no.
Oh, okay.
In my junior year, I told you about making that check mark on that form and how that one little check mark, it changed the direction of my life. And I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but I think this plays out, this notion I have, this plays out over and over in just about everybody's life. We make these little decisions, sometimes often very carelessly, like I did, and there are tremendous consequences. And there's nothing you can do once that decision is made, and then you're just off and going in that direction. And that's what happened. I was a drafting major. My whole family is very mechanically inclined. They, at very young ages, they're dismantling engines and putting them together and going to the scrapyard and buying engine blocks and assembling motors and getting them running and stuff like that. And they would take an old lawnmower frame and build a go-kart out of it from parts they scrapped from a scrapyard. And I was in that same frame of mind, very mechanically inclined, or interested anyway. And well, in high school, the closest thing you could get to a mechanical engineering degree, which, to be honest with you, I was never going to at that stage in my life because we didn't have no money. I was probably not going to ever achieve a mechanical engineer's degree. And but anyway, I was interested in it, so I took mechanical drafting, the closest thing I could find in school, and that became my major. And at the end of my freshman, is it sophomore freshman or freshman sophomore?
Freshman, sophomore.
Okay. At the end of my sophomore year, I had to fill out a form about what I wanted to take next year. And I, of course, picked mechanical drafting again because I was an A student in it. And my teacher was very highly impressed with me and even let me teach the class. And I think he went off carousing some of the other women teachers, but I did have a skill set that merited that kind of behavior, favor.
Yes.
And well, I thought I was going to take it the next year. Well, I'm looking at the bottom of the form there, and I see that they have electronics also. And I thought, that sounds pretty interesting, because I always just I would take my sister's dolls apart. If they had anything mechanical in there, I was going to have it. I would purposely drop my dad's alarm clock to make it malfunction and be unreliable, so that he would throw it in the trash and I'd go get it. He'd have to buy another one. And I would take that thing apart and just study it, all the gears and spring in there and stuff like that. And anyway, I selected electronics, and that one little checkbox, the next year I was enrolled in electronics and there was no drafting, and I said, hey, what happened here? I'm a drafting major. And he says, well, you picked electronics too, and you can only have one, because it was a real long class.
Oh, wow.
And I says, but I'm supposed to be a mechanical drafting major. And he says, sorry, the class is already full. And I was upset for a couple of weeks, and it didn't take me hardly any time at all to adjust and decide that, hey, electronics was fun. And the only problem was I was very poor in math, and electronics is very highly intense. And my electronics teacher found out that I had a skill, a knack for it, and I comprehended things very easily. And he came to me and says, Larry, you've got to do something about your math skills. And I was a troublesome student, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't at all interested in school. I was just there because I had to be there.
That's right.
Okay. And I did my older brother's homework before I would even do my own. And I did it mainly to keep them from dropping out of school.
Yes.
Because I saw the value of finishing it, but my heart really just wasn't in it myself. I can't explain it. I would do my sister's homework, I'd do my older brother's homework, but I'd sit in that math class behind a stack of encyclopedias throwing paper wads at people. And government class, I went to get my report card one time, and the government teacher takes my report card, puts a D on it, and says, you deserve an F, but I don't want to see you next year. And I said, Mr. Rossi, I said, I work at night, I get home, I get to bed at 11 o'clock, I get up at 7, get ready to go to school. I said, you're the first class I have in the morning, and you put me right back to bed. And he was infuriated, and I can understand why now. And then years later, I saw him in a museum in our downtown area, in my hometown there, and he was the curator of the museum. And I looked way down this big long aisle of displays. It was a history museum. And I looked at this desk and this guy sitting behind there, and I said, that's Mr. Rossi. So I walk up there, and I have my daughter Andrea, she's about yay tall at that time. And I said, sir, I said, is your name Mr. Rossi? He goes, yes. I said, did you teach government class? And he said, yes, I did. And I says, well, my name is Larry Briscoe, and I want to apologize to you and to tell you that I'm sorry for the way I acted in your class. I don't even think he remembered me.
No. He probably had a lot of Larry Briscoes back in the day.
Yeah. And I says, but I'm going to say something, Mr. Rossi. I said, later on, when I did go to college, I says, I really developed an intense like for the subject of government. And it was mainly because of the guy that was teaching it. It wasn't so deadpan. He was actually excited about his subject matter, and he made it exciting, and I really enjoyed the class. But anyway, but I apologized to him. That little check mark, I went through 2 years of electronics. I'm getting to my wife. I went through 2 years of electronics, and when I got out of high school, I went to work in a foundry. That was about all there was. If you wanted to earn enough money to buy a car or rent you an apartment or something like that, you had to go get a seriously nasty job. And that one was one of the worst, well, it is the worst I ever worked at. And I quit that after about 6 months. I went on to LAM from the law. I had some problems with the law. And over the December, January, February time frame, I went down to Texas. On the way there, I got arrested for armed robbery, and I was innocent. But I thought I was going to be making little ones out of big ones, or even worse, because somebody had been shot, and the guy that did it looked identical to my friend, and he was driving a car that looked just exactly like my car.
My word.
And we had 2 hitchhikers in there, which we picked up. It was a long drive, and he had told me, my friend, that his brother said to come on down, that everything was going to be fine, and he told me, and it was like snow up to here in Indiana. And I came out of my house one day, and he came out of his, and I said, I hate winter. And he goes, I do too. He goes, it's 90 degrees down in Beeville. And I said, oh man, I'd sure like to be there. And he goes, well, my brother's down there. I can call him and see if we can come down. And I was having these problems with the law at the time, and it's part of my life I really just don't relish getting into.
Absolutely.
And but anyway, we're going through, on the way down there, we pick up 2 hitchhikers at 2 different places, hoping that they would just talk and keep us awake for that. It was like 14-hour drive, you know. And well, they fell asleep. I fell asleep, and my friend was driving the car, and I didn't have a driver's license. Part of the reasons I was in trouble, small reason, but anyway, I fell asleep. Next thing I know, I'm being woken by all these bright lights coming into the car, and I went stir. I said, Jim, what's up? And he goes, that car came up behind us here, and he's been riding my bumper ever since with his bright lights on. I said, well, maybe he's just a wacko and he wants this lane. I said, put your signal on in case it's a cop and pull over into the other lane. And so he pulls over, the guy follows him. I said, well, if it is a cop, he won't like you riding in the passing lane, so get over. And he did. And about that time, we look up ahead, and there's a string of flashing lights across the interstate up there. And about that time, his lights come on, and I said, I think he wants us to go up there. And so we go up there, and I rolled the window down thinking, you know, I'm going to look out. About that time, a 45 sticks in my head, and I can hear him saying, make one false move, and I'm going to blow your brains out. And that was one of several times I've been invited not to make a bad move in my life. I've been held at gunpoint on several occasions and threatened with death. So, and like I said, I don't want to go into all that stuff, but we wind up down in Beeville. I dropped the 2 hitchhikers off in Dallas. We go on to Beeville, and they're from Canada. And we get to Beeville, we knock on the door opens, and his brother has this utter look of shock on his face. And I'm thinking to myself, he has no idea we were coming. Jim, you liar. And anyway, I'm going to cut that episode short and say I eventually wound up going back home, getting a job in a factory, and my life was going nowhere, and I had personal problems, and I was just going nowhere real quick. And I'm laying on my bed one day and thinking about all this, all my problems and troubles and stuff. And I just need a place to run away. And I'm walking past the YMCA, and I see a sign that says, join the Navy and see the world. And this is how I got to my wife. I enlisted in the Navy for the full 6-year enlistment. My recruiter tried to talk me out of it, and I said, sir, my life is going nowhere. Put me down for the full 6. I'll put my name on that paper as long as you guarantee that I will not go north, that you will send me south. and this was the Vietnam era, so I had missed the draft. Nixon stopped the draft just moments before, or days before my first draft. I would have went through and probably would have wound up in Vietnam.
Yep.
And Vietnam continued on till about May of 75. This was 1973. I wound up in boot camp in October of 73 and got out of there, and then went to Memphis for a year because of my 6-year enlistment. They actually wanted, I had all this electronics training. They actually wanted me to go straight from boot camp out to the fleet and be an E4. That's how desperate they were for technicians. And I said, nope. I said, I'm a young man and I don't deserve that E4. And I said, the men that would be under me would know that, and I'm not about to subject them to that sort of thing, and myself as well. And I wound up as an E3 out of boot camp because of my how I tested on all their tests. And then within, I think, about a year, I made E4.
Wow.
And then sometime after that, I made E5. I was real good at taking tests. I can't explain it, folks. I wouldn't study for nothing hardly, but I'd take a test and I'd pass and do real well. And I took the E5 test once, and I didn't know it, but my Social Security number was messed up, and I was one of a handful of men at the time that were certified eligible to be promoted to E5, but they had doubts about my citizenship because my Social Security number wasn't right, and it took me a couple of years to straighten that out.
My goodness.
And once I got it straightened out, I took the test again and went right up to E5.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was sometime after I rotated off of sea duty. I had to extend for a month to get off sea duty, and which I was terribly glad to do. Aboard ship is very dangerous. As a flight deck worker, we had more than a handful of collisions and deaths and body parts and things like that during times I thought they shouldn't even be flying. I mean, you're looking, they have a camera on the flight deck, and you can see the aircraft, the approach lights on the aircraft coming, looking at the camera. This would be the flight deck. You see these, this is the deck of a ship going like this, and our XO, well, this is another one. 2 Marine pilots in an F-4 Phantom hit that round down as it pitched up, and it caused the aircraft to flip forward on its nose. And about that time, well, just before it flipped, the guy in the back seat ejected, but he was on fire. And then the pilot ejected with his nose of the airplane down like that. He bounced off of the flight deck, and he hit one of our airplanes and tore the skin off of where the fuel cell was. And the poor plane captain that was in there got completely doused with gas, but he was okay. It didn't, for some reason, ignite. But our XO flew into a what they call a respot. That's after they launch them all, the deck's clear, so they take all the ones that they're going to launch next to the back and get ready to launch them, and then once the deck's clear, they recover. You know, there's a continuous cycle to about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I worked the night shift, and our XO, this was off the coast of Italy, I think. No, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say. But he flew right into all them airplanes with all them technicians working there, and I thought my best buddy was among them, but he was fighting a fire. That's why he missed the general quarters. But anyway, I wanted to get off sea duty real bad, and so when they said you got to extend for a month, I was like, give me that form. There you go. And I got off sea duty, and I'm just going to be honest about this part here. I had a really bad drug problem. I can remember my mother's words, just like it was yesterday when I stepped off of that porch and I got in that recruiter's car, And my mother was like an Old Testament prophet to me. I wound up in jail just literally hours after that woman said, when you wind up in jail, don't call here.
Don't call me.
And I'm not joking. That night, Larry Briscoe was in jail. And they had to beg that woman to come and get me out because she wasn't going to do it. I was going to pay the full price. Yeah, she was a good. And my best friend that wound up in jail with me, his mom was all crying and carrying on because he was in jail, and she was going to go bail him out. And my mother stood in front of her and said, "Oh no, you won't." And she was a real tough one, that lady. And if one of my boys, my older brothers, said a foul word or a word she didn't like, man, she'd grab you by the scruff of the neck and say, "I want you to tell me who told you that word." And I mean, she meant every word of it. And she would hunt that individual down and tell him, "You will not talk like that in front of my child." That's the way she was. And, I had a great deal of respect for that gal. And my dad, too. Tough but fair. Anyway, there were many times when Dad had every right to really wear into me, but he had no absolute proof. And that man, if it wasn't out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, he wasn't going to do. He'd say, "I'll take care of it. I'll watch him." But anyway, I got off sea duty and went to a shore duty squadron, a training squadron of the same aircraft type that I serviced when I was aboard the aircraft carrier. And while I was in that squadron, I, of course, made friends, and they had friends, and I developed a social network, and Sarah was a part of that network. And unfortunately, her life wasn't perfect either. And I learned the hard way through circumstances I'm not proud to even talk about, just how much I cared for that woman.
Absolutely.
I was willing to go to jail
Absolutely.
to spare her life.
Absolutely.
And it was then I realized, oh, something's changing here.
And that's where we're going to stop tonight, right there. That's a good place to stop. Now, what we've done tonight, we've laid the foundation, all right, of Brother Larry Briscoe's life. He's bringing us to the point now that he's meeting the love of his life, Sister Sarah, soon to be Briscoe. He's going to tell us her maiden name, a little bit about her background. And then next week, when we pull back together for part 2, we're going to start right here with him meeting Sarah Briscoe. Well, not Briscoe yet. And then when he tells you about meeting the love of his life, he's going to share with us about getting married, the children God blessed him with, and then where God brought both of them from into the revelation of the truth, and then what he is doing with his life today. So part 2, you'll want to be here for part 2. You've learned more about Brother Briscoe tonight than you ever thought you'd ever know. Because when you talk to people at church, you don't get an opportunity to really know that person like you do at Let's Get to Know You. So, Brother Briscoe, I'm going to let that end right there. Hold that thought. You'll be back here next Wednesday night. We're going to pick up and we're going to walk right through this. Absolutely. And want each and every one of you to be back with us next Wednesday night to hear the conclusion. Now, just a couple announcements before I let you go. Hopefully, by the grace of God and by faith speaking, we'll be back in-house for worship this coming Sunday morning at 10 a.m.
And the parking lot looks really good.
Yes. Thank you, Brother Briscoe, for confirmation. Yeah, parking lot looks really good. What we're going to ask our ushers, the ones that get here earlier, that upon your arrival, if you're at the age of 60 or older, and we're going to ask you just pull up to the front here next to the sanctuary. One of the trustees or an usher or somebody will meet you outside, help you out of your vehicle, get you inside. Then they'll go back and park your vehicle for you lock it up and bring you your keys. Almost like valet service at FAC. But we want to make sure that we take care of those of you that come. We don't want anybody to step on a rogue piece of ice and have an accident, any form, any shape whatsoever. But plan on being here Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Now pray for Sister Aldridge and I. We'll be leaving tomorrow and heading south. Oh, I hate to rub that in. I already looked at the weather forecast south. It's going to be 73, 74 degrees. No snow. And but we'll think about y'all while we're gone. I've got to preach a 10th year anniversary for Brother David Poe. And then I'll also be going by our former home church, preaching for them Sunday morning as well. So we're looking forward to that opportunity to return back to Arkansas. But you're in good hands. You come on out to the house of the Lord. The leadership's got everything already lined up, planned out for a full service Sunday morning, also Sunday night as well. Love to hear some great reports. Last time we went off, I think y'all baptized, 9 got the Holy Ghost last time we went off like that. Yeah. So it'd be absolutely exciting to hear that happen once again. And the Lord willing, we plan on being back with you by next Wednesday night so we too can hear the conclusion of this. If not, then we will definitely be here for the following weekend after that. Fish fry coming up February the 20th. Don't forget that. Put it on your calendar. Those of you that are engaged on the fish fry, the one that makes the beans, the ones that does the coleslaw, the potato salad, the desserts, etc., the tartar sauce, everything else that comes together. Brother Rush has so emphatically agreed. Well, he wanted to. I didn't even ask him. He volunteered to gather all of our supplies for us. So I'm saying that because he said if you need to deviate from anything at all on the supply list, those of you that are in charge of these other areas of the fish fry, please let him know. Because he's going to be working so hard getting all the supplies gathered up so we can go ahead and get everything made on a timely manner and be ready to go on the 20th.
And you got a list up there.
Oh, yes, Brother Briscoe, thank you. There is a list when you get here Sunday. You'll see it on the bulletin board. You can sign that list that tells you about the fish fry as well. So don't forget that. And then we'll have a meeting following Sunday, the 15th, after service, everybody that's engaged in the fish fry. Workers, those that's doing prep days, those that doing serving, just whatever capacity you serve in for the fish fry, we'll have a meeting on Sunday morning the 15th, immediately following service. So a lot of good things happening. Now you might as well strap yourself in, get ready for a ride, because we are going to have a fun time getting things done this year. We love you. Sister Aldridge, you got something or a question?
Sister Cantrell said, remember Saturday for the...
Oh, yes, Sister Cantrell. Thank you for reminding me of that. Sister Cantrell, our new ladies minister director for FAC, has already got an engagement plan for the ladies here at the church this Saturday at, is that 1 p.m.?
I think it's 3.
Okay, at 3 p.m. this Saturday. So check with her. You ladies want to get behind this, support it, have a wonderful time of fellowship, and get engaged on doing some of these activities.
What was the name of that restaurant we went to? 5 something?
Oh, that was a 5 Broke Girls.
I have never in my entire life ever had a waitress be willing to do what it was necessary to make me happy as far as my restaurant experience goes, as I have at that restaurant. And Larry Briscoe highly endorses that. I hope she's listening. She probably isn't.
It's the 5 Broke Girls?
Yeah, I told her,
Girls.
I'm almost ready to cry, I said.
And where's it located?
Where was that, brother?
As a Horse Cave.
Horse Cave. Yeah.
Horse Cave, 5 Broke Girls at Horse Cave.
You know, exterior-wise, you know, it's not much to say, but just the attitude of the people there was really, really nice. Now, I mean, I'm a stranger. They didn't know me from nobody.
It was just the way that she just, I mean, hey, she did it the way that our churches ought to be doing visitors when they first walk in. And what I mean by that, Brother Briscoe asked for dessert or something.
Ice cream.
And when he asked for the dessert, he asked her if she had ice cream to go with that. And her response to Brother Briscoe was, we should, I'm not sure, let me look back there, but she told him this. She said, if we don't have it, I'll run across to the store and I'll get you some and
That's
bring it
amazing.
back.
Yeah.
Now, folks, that's customer service
It was at that point I
101.
said, I'm about to cry. Oh, when I think of
I tell
I'm
you.
sure Sister Briscoe does that for
I
us.
tell you.
well, when she cooks. Oh no, I can't believe I said that.
Oh, we better hurry up and get off here quick, but we're both
Sister
alive.
Paula did confirm it's at 3 o'clock Saturday.
3 o'clock Saturday, ladies. Come on out.
Let's support
Support
her.
this.
Yes.
We appreciate Sister Carla picking this up and running with it, expecting some great things coming out of our ladies' ministry in 2026. Well, we're going to let you go. Get back with it. Was Brother Tandy on tonight? Did you get a chance to see if he
I've
joined
not
or
seen
whatever?
Brother Tandy.
Brother Tandy from India, if you're on tonight, God bless you. Praying for you in the church there, the work of the Lord that you're engaged on. And I cannot
Your
say
good
enough
buddy, Brother
things.
Fredericks, is on.
Yeah, Brother Fredericks, God bless you, Brother Fredericks. I hope and pray that Florida is treating you well down there. And so you're a little bit further south than what I'll be this weekend. But anyway, be thinking about you anyhow. Well, God bless you all. Don't forget, in-house worship Sunday morning, 10 a.m., ladies ministry Saturday, 3 p.m. Y'all come out and have a wonderful time together. God bless you all.